Welcome to The Blueprint. We are so excited for you to be here today. Sarah is our special guest today, and we are starting a kind of mini series in The Blueprint talking to local entrepreneurs on their journey into entrepreneurship. So I'm so excited. And Sarah, when she came in, I was like, you're the first guest on this series. So I literally just had a moment one day and I was like, this would be so neat, because sometimes as entrepreneurs, we feel really alone, or we feel that we have thoughts that other people aren't thinking, and to normalize that and to have a space where we can share our journey. And, you know, like the whole, like, we're supposed to look like swans on the top, but we're paddling for dear life underneath. So this series is called From Dreaming to Doing, and it is the Entrepreneur's Journey series. So before we get into that, though, Sarah, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, share a little bit about the amazing work that you do, and then we're gonna hop in.
Yeah. So thank you for letting me be the first one.
Absolutely.
I will try not to scare you off so that you don't have anyone else come in. But yeah, so my name is Sarah Bedsaul, and I have a company called Zephyr Strategic Services. We are a fractional HR company. What the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
Basically.
I love your emails that I get from you and the subjects. It's like, she's so good with her subject lines.
To be completely honest, I actually have to give all of my preps to my admin, who has she has taken over
really good job.
all of my social medias. Yeah, I'm really, really proud of her.
Yeah.
Like every so often I look at something, I'm like, can we tweak that? But for the most part, it's pretty hands off. We meet once a month and I go, yeah, those are good subjects.
So good.
Fire away.
Yep.
But yeah, what does like being fractional mean is that, so I came from like the corporate world, right? And typically you're looking at one person per 100 individuals for your HR, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
And small businesses find that they don't actually get HR until some stuff has gone wrong. They got a call from their attorney and, you know, they have to fix stuff. So for me, like that fractional piece is making sure that those small businesses, and I'm going to get stupid nerdy on you.
No, I love stupid nerdy. And I think that people need stupid nerdy sometimes. Like,
what I think people don't understand is that, like, if you are in the state of Pennsylvania, for example, the threshold for individuals that you fall under what's called the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act is 4.
Oh, really?
4. So you are actually held responsible for...
Yeah, isn't there like tiers at like 4, 10?
Yeah, so in the OSHA is 10, your ADA, Americans with Disability Act, and the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, is 15.
Okay.
And then you pretty much have like a funny little gap of 15 to 50.
Yeah, I do know that there's like this, there's like, because we've hit the 15, and then we're like, oh, okay, we're good now for a while.
So in Pennsylvania, it fills that gap between the 4 and the 15.
Yeah.
So people who are like employers in Pennsylvania, if you have at least 4 people, you'd still fall under that larger bucket. So instead of going to the Fed for things, like your employees would go to the state for things.
Got it.
It covers the same things. So long story short, like what I do is I help those small businesses understand the minutia. Because like most of us, we go into business because we're good at that thing. That thing. No one said I was good at anything else.
Yes, HR specifically. My team has loved me through that journey because I'm like, I really like people. I really like what we do. I don't know why this form is so long, and I don't even know if this is the real form. You're like, yeah, that.
But you know what's funny is it really does get expensive for people if you get it wrong. Like all of these things that, like, again, if you ever get an audit, the government, they're just gonna go ahead and charge you. And like I literally have a client right now that we're fighting with the Department of Labor. And in my experience, small business owners are some of the nicest, most kind-hearted people that you will ever meet. But the decisions that are made with our hearts,
I know,
sometimes hurt our wallets.
I know.
So I kind of have to run that line because I feel like HR in and of itself has always had such a really negative connotation in the past. Like, and I find that being a contractor for small businesses actually helps me keep perspective for them. So that there's this I'm not just protecting your company and I'm not just protecting your employees. Sometimes I have to protect the business from themselves.
Yeah. And having like a neutral party come in and just be like, I don't have heartstrings attached to it. I have your best interest and your protection of you, your employees, all of it, the company, all.
Yeah.
You know.
It is messy, and sometimes it can be scary, but I think sometimes like I have found personally that if you treat people, like even when you stay within the bounds of those legal things that you need to,
right,
that you still get a good result even when you have to terminate someone if you do everything the right way. And on the flip side of that, sometimes you can also do everything the right way and still end up with that person feeling misled. But that's when all of those things, it's kind of like a prenup, right?
Yeah, right.
Like that's what I look at documentation. Like if you never need it, you never need it.
Right.
If it never comes up, great, it was just paper.
Right.
But if you ever need it, you are going to be darn glad you had it.
Yeah. I mean, that was our handbook. I mean, I talk about this all the time on here. Was a year-long journey because it was so many bunny trails of like, oh, okay, this was on the handbook questionnaire, but now this made me think like, yeah, I do want to offer a 401k. And then this was on it. And I was like, well, it's like dress code. Like that was the funniest thing. And even that I was like, well, let's start with like no shorts. And I was like, well, it depends. Like if it's 100 degrees outside and we're at a shoot, like, yeah, shorts are appropriate, but it just, so we have like 4. Is that right, Emma? Do we have like 4? We have like 4 dress codes. But we have a dress for your day is now. But yeah, I know that's a more simple thing, but it also makes the employee feel, I feel from my perspective that one of the feedback that they gave me was, we don't care what it is. We just can't read your mind, you know? Yeah. And so having that security of knowing that I took the time to put it down on paper so that they aren't guessing what the expectation is.
Oh, for sure.
It's just on paper. And then we can feel confident and secure, which weren't things, I looked at it even writing it as like, I'm making all these rules and I'm freedom and choice. And then I was like, it's guardrails. Like it's, just like we put guardrails on our kids, we put, and not that they're kids.
They're bumpers when you go bowling.
Yes, but then they know where the safety zone is. And then they can feel secure in knowing that they're running on a path that.
But and the handbook as well, and that's a really good example too. And like whenever I meet with clients, that's like one of the first places we go. I go,
you got to start there. Like,
you have handbooks, you have job descriptions.
Oh yeah,
and you've got like your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. For those of you that don't know what a standard operating procedure is, empirically speaking.
I love how Emma's laughing. SOP. That's going to be the word of the year. We're going to do something and write a book 10 years from now. And I'm going to be like, what I learned in year 1, 2, 3. Year 3 is SOPs.
But you know what the thing is, though, is that your culture, because when you have a new person, they don't know what your culture is, right?
I know.
And like, how do you explain a culture? How do you show what a culture is? So for like clients that I've done handbooks for that are, say, a construction company, that handbook is going to look so very different
than an attorney.
Than an attorney. One of my clients is a fiduciary, so like the ethics section is silly long.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Whereas 100%. Construction, we're going to have some serious safety. So it depends on the business.
That makes sense.
So really, it's not about like I went on Google and I downloaded this template, or I got my Chatty G to and I do love myself some AI. I do.
I say it's a tool. Just like spell check and a calculator.
Actually, it's funny because my admin, she put it best. Using AI is kind of like a wish. Like if you don't word it exactly the way you need to word it, you're not going to get what you wanted.
Because it's not a person; it's a computer.
Right. So if I make a wish and I say,
true.
I say I'd like to lose weight, and then my arm falls off.
Right.
I did. You in fact lose weight.
Problem solved. You need to be more specific. I would like to lose weight while keeping all of my what are they called? My appendages. That's such a good. I'm going to use that in some of my speaking. That was
I told her for Halloween she's going to do one where like she does like one about like the monkey's paw.
Yes.
Like You know, you have to be, you do. And that's the thing. So like any of us that use any of these additional tools have to understand
how to
use those tools.
Yeah.
So,
and to check them, like use your actual brain. And do you remember, like, this is totally off. This is great. We're going to talk about how you became an entrepreneur. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we will.
Oh, it's good. This is all good background information. It's like the thing, and I say this to people too. Do you remember when because we talked about this before we got on the air, that we're about the same age. And so we've gone through a lot of.
Which we will not disclose.
We will not disclose.
It's a secret.
But I can tell confidently that we were born in the 1900s.
Well, yes.
But my kids, whenever I'm like, this is me in the 1900s, and they're like, oh my God, Mom. But
in the Victorian period.
Yes. Do you remember when GPSs came out? And like people were like driving their cars off cliffs and going down one-way roads the wrong direction and like driving around do not enter signs.
My
like,
favorite,
you have to like look at it and be like, you still need to use common sense.
Dude, and they named one Magellan, and Magellan got lost. Magellan got lost on his way to the East Indies. So why would you name a GPS after a guy that could not make it there?
I did not know that.
He was like, is this the East Indies? Nope, keep going. No. Is this it? Is this it? And then he ended up actually getting killed by a tribe on his way. He never even got there, poor Magellan. But yet we named a GPS after him. So
that is the blind leading the blind.
Rip Magellan.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's dig in to the entrepreneurial part. And I'm so excited about this because as we were talking before we went on the air, I think that as entrepreneurs, sometimes we feel so isolated. We feel alone. Sometimes we wonder, like, am I doing any of this right? Like, what am I missing? Like, what elephant is standing right in front of me and I can't see it? And we also focus sometimes on totally the wrong things. And, sometimes we just want somebody to be like, hey, watch out for this, right? But we sometimes don't want to ask that because we feel embarrassed, right? And sometimes we don't want to admit it because we want to feel accomplished, right? Like that whole fake it till you make it. Yeah. But like there also are some like days that you're like, I mean, yep. So, but also at the end of the day, like I can't wait to hear the wins, right? Like it's also one of those things like being a mother, right? Like, yeah, you're going to have sleepless nights and your body's not going to be your own for a period of time. And you'll cry a lot. And then at the end, you'll look at this teenager and you'll be like, you're pretty cool. I'm glad I kind of did that. So, on that same part. So we're going to kick it off, Sarah, and take me back to the beginning.
Yeah.
What was going on in your life that you decided to start your business?
So mine is a COVID story.
I'm a COVID story too.
Oh my God.
I said this too. I was like, I am excited to hear because I don't know all of this shit. Okay.
So I was OG in property management. I was in property management for a long time. And for me, like I don't know, I spent a lot of time because by the time I left, I'd actually made it to the corporate office. I was making excellent money. I had Gucci, I had Chanel, I had 2 pairs of Louboutins, I had Burberry, right? I had all these. They did not bring me joy. I used to call it like my golden handcuffs. And like there was like this moment.
It's a good phrase too.
Yeah. Like there's like this moment in COVID where, and it wasn't necessarily even HR related, but I was watching Walmart continue to do well, Target continue to do well, Amazon continue to do well, my local bars and restaurants closing left and right, and it just felt so unbelievably unfair. And these things that were outside of their control. Right? And they were trying to do the best that they could, but like in my experience, there are 2 types of business owners.
Okay.
There is the kind that hire people and say, perfect, I have a business, it's running, I've got people doing it, deuces, I'll see you on the golf course, right? And then you've got the people that are first in, last out, right? The ones that probably actually put in more hours than their entire team.
Right.
And those are the ones that I really felt for is like they're in the kitchen, they're actually serving, they're checking on people, they're doing everything that they could. And I just had this moment where I said, you know what? I am sick to death of buying other people yachts. Where's my yacht? I didn't have a yacht. Like I'm like a normal person with a mortgage and everything. Yeah. And so for me, it was very much, I did the silly thing, which is to say, I said, I quit. And
No, was this pre-COVID?
No, it was, so actually my 5-year anniversary is in July.
Happy early anniversary.
Happy birthday, Zephyr. She's all grown up a little bit. I guess maybe at 5, I guess she's potty trained.
She's potty trained. But entering kindergarten.
She is. But like, I left. I didn't have clients. I didn't really have a plan. I just knew that where I wasn't it. And I just made it. And I'm a both feet in kind of person. I couldn't have worked part-time. And
I mean, I feel like most people who are called to be entrepreneurs are either I've got to do it 110% or I can't do it at all, because I don't know how to do middle.
I will tell you what, like, the first going from well over 6 figures to nothing overnight was a bit of a culture shock. There was a lot of rice and pasta in those times.
What is the noodles that come in the little jars?
The ramens, no.
Yeah.
The sodium. But so like I will tell and
all these.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, I think if for any entrepreneur, if you can make it past the first 2.5, 3 years, you've got it. Because I will tell you, those first couple years were rough. Like, especially that first year. Like, I think in 2021, I think I made $5,000.
I mean, should you just be celebrating that the line was green, not red, right? And then you take that by the hours that you worked, and you're like, cool.
Yeah,
that was fun.
So like
that was really
every
fun.
so many weeks, I would look at my husband and I would say, "Do I need a job today?" And I will tell you, the only reason that I am still here is because he looked at me and he said, "You have a job, go do it."
It's a good man.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure I'm his retirement plan at this point. So,
girl, same. My husband keeps saying that all the time. He keeps going. He goes, "I'll keep supporting you in the beginning because you darn well are going to be supporting me later." I'm like, understood.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's where it began. And what if you would say, like, what was the one thing that you were just like, I know that my seat at the table has changed from being the employee to being the entrepreneur? Because I think that there's really great seats at both tables.
I think that, and it's funny because, like, you know, before I was in HR and corporate, I was an ops manager. So I can read a P&L with the best of them, right? You know, so I understand operations. I do think that helped along the way.
And I think for you to be good at HR, you had to be the employee for a hot minute. Like, and for more than like a hot minute. Because you have to understand it from all the perspectives.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people at corporate office like sit in a conference room and they're like, what would our people like? Ooh, this sounds good. Let's implement this. And no one asked the people.
Yeah.
You know, like, maybe you should ask the people who are doing the job. Like, you're not doing the job. How can you actually know what it's like?
Yes. Like, they had something. I was at the High Center's event that was at the Marriott a couple weeks ago, and one of the speakers, they did this poll and they asked the leaders, like, what are these 5, like a list, and which would be the top 5 in order of the biggest concerns in your organization. And then they asked the same questions to the doers and how different like systems, right? Like, for the leader, it was like very low on the list, and for the doer, it was like 1 or 2, like very high, because the leaders are just telling everybody to use the system versus the people using the system are like, none of this makes any sense.
Well, like, you know how like Starbucks writes on the cups now?
Yes.
And that's like a thing. They have to. They're required to. And so
that would make sense. And that's a SOP.
And right, but like, again, like, it's imagine like someone in a boardroom said this is going to be great, but when you're making your people write a personalized message, it's not really a personalized message.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's actually them just being like smiley face because they're busy, right? Like, no one actually asked them, does this seem like a good idea?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I digress. What was the question? I forgot.
I don't know. That was, what was the one thing?
Okay, the one thing. So the one thing that, like, I can look back on and say I'm making it, or the one thing that made me say I'm a business owner today. Because there is like that imposter syndrome that you get where you're like, they gave me an EIN, are they?
Yeah.
they really let me have one.
It's like the when you leave the hospital and they're like, you want me to just go home now
with this little human?
Yes, that's what you're telling me to do.
Okay, thanks. Thanks.
I feel like I have not had enough training yet.
I you know what's fun? I think I still have those. Even 5 years later, I think I still have moments where I have quite a few of them where I'm like, holy crap, I'm actually doing this. Holy crap, I'm actually doing this.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest one for me was when I hired my first team member, because again, having worked for other companies, I have hired people, I have terminated people. I have done this many, many times. But I think there's a moment when you recognize that the revenue that you're generating is what's paying their paycheck. And that if you fail to generate that revenue, you have to let someone go, or they can't pay their bills. Or, I mean, I always said that I would not pay myself first before I didn't let my team get paid.
Absolutely.
You know? I don't know. There's a weight.
There is a weight. There is 100 and coming from a small background in corporate America, and growing up with parents that were business owners that had employees, there is a real weight to know that if you mess up, it's not just you. It's lots of families that have invested their passion, their skills, and are counting on you. And I mean, that is a weight. You know,
I think that's what made it real for me.
Yeah.
Was I'm not playing a game. I mean, this is someone's livelihood.
Yeah. Like when we sat down at the beginning of the year and we're working on some of our numbers, and like it really hit me like what my monthly payroll was. And I'm like, whew, that's a big girl number. Like, but that's a big girl responsibility. So did you always see yourself? Oh, this one I already know the answer, but we're going to ask it. Did you always see yourself as an entrepreneur, or did it kind of just happen by accident?
I definitely didn't.
I know. I was like, you already kind of said
I
this,
definitely,
but it's cool.
I definitely didn't. But I can't go back. I promise you. I can never work for anyone else ever again. I would be the worst employee.
I mean, I was the worst employee. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that. Like, I was very high achieving, but I bucked at every role. Like, if you told me I had to be here and clock in by 8, I would clock in at 8:01. Like, just because, like, I don't know. I just did not do good with
What's
God.
your astrological sign?
I don't know.
When's your birthday?
August 1st.
You're a Leo. I knew.
Oh, a Leo.
I knew you were a Leo as soon as you said
really?
that. I knew it. As soon as you said that, I was like, she's a Leo or she's an Aries.
Which was funny because that's why I'm writing a handbook. But my husband is very much safety and security, very much here's the guardrails and I will stay within them. And I'm like, guardrails, take them babies down. So, it's very interesting. Okay, so what was the biggest fear you had before you started? Oh, and this is a good add-on to that. And was that fear actually true? I know, right?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest fear that I had was that I was a silly goose for giving up a very well-paying job.
Yeah.
As soul-sucking as it was, I mean, I liked it. I was there for a very, very long time. I mean, they don't let you work for the corporate office if you're, not good at it. But I think my biggest fear was that I would just fall flat on my face, and I didn't. I've had definite stumbles along the way. I think everybody does.
I think if you don't, you're either not risking hard enough or you're not telling the truth.
Yeah. It was the smoothest transition I've ever made.
It was so great.
It was, I've never done anything as easy in my life. But you know what, though? Even on, and I mean, and you know this as a business owner yourself, even on my hardest days, where I literally, I don't know if you've ever done this. I have done this where I've left a networking event and just cried in my car and just been like, I'm never going to get there. But I want
to hug you. And I'm like, yes, you are. You always are. But mine has been more the disappointment. I'm very much a people pleaser. And if I can't be all the things to all the people, I struggle a lot.
when I first started, I was definitely afraid that I was going to fail. I was afraid, I was going to let my husband down. I mean, we were pretty much one income for a really long time. And I'll tell you what, like that man never complained once. Right. So there's a lot of it's like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Not only for my sake, but like for the sake of everything.
You know what's really interesting too is, as you're talking about your husband, I give mine such a hard time all the time because he's such safety and security. But I think that if you're really like, as you're telling the story of your journey, I think that him being safety and security was very much like, I will make sure that the house doesn't fall down.
Yeah.
And you go build your dream, and I will provide this security here.
Well, see, our relationship has always been like that. Like I met him when I was 19.
No.
Yeah. So like we've always really been like a really good like team in that way. So it's very much like we can talk money. It doesn't like money is stressful, but it's not like, I don't know. There's something about like just having someone that's like, you've got this.
Yes.
And
there is,
and every so often, he makes a point to tell me that he's really proud of me. And I'm like, thanks, I know.
Aw, I love that. And it is good. Like, I think that, and when we were talking earlier too, I thought about like being an entrepreneur, right? Like you can't dump on your staff or like, melt down, right? Even though sometimes you do, because you're human, right? And you don't want to always do that on your husband either, because he's out there being like, I'm trying to do all this so you can do all that, and so it's good to know that like you're not alone. Like you were saying about like being in the car and crying, even though what my tears were about were different things, but like we've all had those moments.
Well, we're as humans, I think that there is at the core of us a fear. Like like a lot of the things that we do in life are because we're afraid of what the outcome will be if we didn't do that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is funny because I think your question was, and was it true?
And yes.
But did you die?
No.
Right?
Yes.
And there's so many things along the way that like, you know what? I think I'm glad I made the mistakes that I did, because if I hadn't made those mistakes, I could not have learned what I learned.
Yeah.
I
mean, I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Like there's so many things that like, if it hadn't gone wrong,
right.
How could I have known how to improve it?
I mean, it's, again, not to keep using the kids, but the toddler, you could tell the toddler 1,000 times, that's hot, don't touch it. But at some point, they actually do have to touch it and then be like, that did hurt. But I had to kind of figure it out on my own. I had to touch it.
I feel like that about generations in the workplace too.
Oh yeah,
well, that's a whole other podcast as well.
There's a whole podcast.
But like, because
we like to do the generation wars in our office.
We're millennials.
We're old millennials. Well, should we say that?
Elder millennials.
We said that. We're OG millennials.
We are of the Oregon Trail generation.
We are.
We did not die of dysentery.
Or because it glitched and it kept telling you you're cold and you need more blankets and you couldn't make it move past it. We are aware we're freezing. Thank you.
So the same thing was said. Like they're like, oh, millennials, they don't want to work. They're lazy. Like we're legitimately like running businesses. We're like the elder millennials are in our 40s. Like that's a thing. Whereas now it's the younger generation. Well, they don't know how to work. They're the lazy ones. I saw this article where it was people don't want to work anymore, and it went back into the 90s, the 70s, the 50s. This went all the way back to like the OG printed like printing press.
Yeah.
Like of like the 1800s, 1700s. People don't want to work anymore. And I'm like, so really what you're saying is that the old generation doesn't understand the younger generation. And I think at the end of the day, if I had to guess, that there's a lot of things that people don't understand yet because life hasn't kicked them in the pants for it yet. Yeah. So it's not that the generation is the problem. It's just they don't have the experience.
They don't have the life experience to understand it.
Yeah.
You can't expect
They haven't
them to...
touched the hot stove yet.
Right. They haven't touched the stove yet. That's very true. I mean, and we say that, and I think that one of the biggest things, aside from generations, but kind of in generations, I think that our parents just were told, you go to work and you don't care. Like, you just go. And you work until you're dead, and then at some point you're going to retire, and it'll all have been worth it, right? And I think that this generation, starting with us as millennials and carrying on down the line is, yeah, I know I need to work and I have a desire to work, but I actually do need to know that what I'm doing matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that somebody sees me. Like the whole just put your head down and punch a clock mentality, I feel largely has gone away.
That is because we are the first generation that actually said that, yeah, therapy's okay. We do that.
Yeah.
Right? If you think about it, like boomers, like they sent you off to a farm in New York and maybe like shocked you for a little while because you were hysterical, also known as having a period.
Yeah. I mean, I've read some of that stuff about, my gosh.
And then Gen X, it was very much like, but did you die? Did you, get up, keep moving?
Suck it up, buttercup.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? And then our generation was sort of the first one to be like, but actually feelings are things.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it really, and then there is this balance of, but you can't have everything you want, life doesn't cater, you know what I mean? Like sort of like what we talked about at the beginning, the government doesn't care, life doesn't care.
Yeah.
These things are just going to happen.
Right.
But see, we're just sort of this first generation to be like, well, how can I make it work? And I think at the end of the day, your humans want to be seen. Mm-hmm. They want to be heard. You know how many businesses have open door policies? Ain't nobody walking through that damn door.
No, I know.
The door's open. They ain't going in.
No. Yep. And I think that really is finding purpose, right? Like if I'm going to spend this much of my day here, like I want to at least go home and feel like I made a difference. Yeah. And
I want to find joy. And
the stereotypes through the whole movement of the just work-life environment. And I know you're in HR, so but like I'm happy to see that women can come to work and feel safe and appreciated. And I think that even when I was a young employee, I had a male in leadership say something that man would be arrested, fired, convicted, and it was totally appropriate.
Did you know that sexual harassment law existed within our lifetime? 1989.
Really?
So yes, when our mothers were,
they just weren't brave enough to stand up and
I don't think it's bravery.
It's not brave. They were fearful of losing their position.
So I mean, you were talking,
or it was culturally acceptable.
And it was culturally acceptable, and it couldn't be legislated until after 1989. So like there actually was not a law saying what defines sexual harassment. So like, and this is the thing, like society as a whole, it does shift, mm-hmm. right? Like, and there is it's we we could have like 12 podcasts on,
yes,
honestly. Please invite me back.
We're more. Yeah.
we're gonna have a series.
You're doing great. Yes, a series of HR.
But like, it doesn't even be HR. We could just like talk about like life, the universe, and everything. But
absolutely.
But like
I feel like it all works together. You can't.
Well, and that's just it. Is that society changes, we change as people, and if you don't keep up with your own workforce, mm-hmm. you will be left behind. So yeah. It's not that you.
It's the same. Your workforce is the same as the fax machine. If you're going to say we're only faxing, you're going to die.
That's a good example. Yeah, that really is a good example. I mean, sometimes I see things and like they have fax number. And I'm like, who faxes?
Medical, apparently, because then the person sending it can say, "Well, I secure send it," but then the other person's going to print it off and leave it on the table. I don't understand.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the when you talk about like where people belong and like culturally and stuff. I have this thing, I call it my soup theory.
Oh.
So imagine that you have two soups.
Yes.
Butternut squash soup and chicken noodle soup. And they're both lovely soups.
Lovely.
If I put nutmeg in my chicken noodle soup, it tastes like crap. It's not nutmeg's fault. Nutmeg is in the wrong soup. So your people are ingredients. So every ingredient that you add to your organization needs to enhance the dish. You can't have too much of things. There's one note. Right, so everyone has their own je ne sais quoi, if you will. But at the same time, when people when my clients, team members, they might say I'm pretty sure this isn't the place for me. I'm going to leave, because we were talking about how our parents we work at some place until they died. That's just what we did, and we have no problem hopping. It's because we're in the wrong soup, right? So you find the soup that makes you elevate that dish, and you will stay. Right. So when someone says, I think I need to quit, this isn't the place for me, I say, bon voyage.
Yeah.
Best. I wish you so much the best. And I mean that sincerely, because we all need a place where we belong. And if this isn't it, I'm not going to make it fit. I can't make it fit. Right. Company cultures are built in so many complex variants, but you can't have one person, well, we change an entire company culture to fit this individual.
Yeah.
So, but I encourage them to go find a place where they fit.
Right.
And that's okay. I have literally delivered trainings and people have quit after them, and I go, well.
Yeah. I mean, but we've had a situation where we're like, it's okay that you want that, but this is not that. And I think that for us, growing as an organization, learning that this is not that. And that's okay that you want that, but
so
this
you said
is
you're
not
a people
that.
pleaser? Guess what? That's you setting a boundary.
Yeah. Hey, look at that.
I'm saying, like, you learn to just say that's okay. And it doesn't mean that person was never a good employee. It doesn't mean that
exactly.
It was never a good company.
Yep.
It's like being in a relationship. Sometimes this is a relationship that worked for a while.
Right.
I changed. Right. And that's okay.
And that's okay. I say that a lot with, I use the example of churches, is there was nothing wrong with the particular church that you moved on. Sometimes things are just, they're the right thing for a certain season. And then the season changes, and there was nothing wrong with the person. There was nothing wrong with the organization. Just wasn't the right season anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. So what is something you did early that you are really glad that you did?
I learned very, very early on that, as we said earlier, we go into business because we're good at that thing. I learned very, very early on that there are people in every networking space that exists that do the things that I suck at.
Yep.
And I learned very, very early on to trust people to do the things that I don't do well.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
Because
I don't like bookkeeping.
And that's just it. Like, you're not going to be good at everything.
You can't.
You physically can't.
You can't.
You can be good at that thing.
And then think about how much you're thinking, I don't have the money to spend on that, so I'm not going to do that. And in the meantime, you're taking yourself out of being good at the thing you're good at. And then, which I'm sure you've seen, then you start to resent your own business because you're not actually doing the thing you're good at that brings you joy. You're stuck in this administrative nightmare and you can't seem to get yourself out.
Yeah, there are experts out there who are good at every facet.
Everything.
And so if you have an area where you know that this is a profitable center for my organization, or in my particular case, see, HR is not a profit center in a traditional way, not in a traditional way, but it really, really is a cost center.
I was going to say it should be something that is put into your budget, which budget should be a thing, right? Like, it's ever evolving, we know. And especially when you're a new business owner, it's very hard because how do you make a budget when you don't have any history, right? So you have to figure out all of those pieces. But just like you put a line item in the budget, or if your budget's mental, you're going to need computers and you find the money for that because it's needed in your organization, right? And HR is the same thing. You've got to have some of these things.
Well, and I think
you're like flying down the highway with the back door open.
Well, actually, the way I describe it to people is, see, a lot of business law, HR law, they're all things that, again, when to anybody that started a business, you go out there, you get your EIN, you pay your fees, now you have a business. Great. Yep. Now what? Who teaches you how to do any of that? Ain't nobody.
Nobody.
Right? Nobody teaches you this.
Yeah.
So the way I describe it is, imagine that you got your driver's license and there's no speed limit signs on the highway. None. But they're all in a giant book somewhere. You have access to them.
Such a good one too.
Right? So people can Google they can.
But what part of all the things you need to do as a business owner starting out are thinking, let me try to put in the right Google prompt to tell me this answer.
Imagine I get pulled over for speeding and I go, I didn't know what the speed limit was. And the cop says, doesn't matter. That's what the speed limit is. You get your ticket, right?
Yeah.
And the same way that every time I speed, I'm breaking the law. That doesn't mean I get pulled over every time.
Right.
Eventually I will.
But when I do, it's going to hurt.
And that's the thing. And so for me, it's very, very much I try my best to educate people, because when I tell people that in Pennsylvania it is 4, in Colorado it's 1. 1. So like,
yeah.
And if you're an S Corp, you're 1. You
Colorado,
count.
I hope you're listening.
Right? Everyone in Colorado. So you have like these things, and I think small business owners don't actually know how close they are to it. Or, don't get me started on like what constitutes.
Or like the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right. Or
until that is the squeaky wheel because you're getting audited.
Right. Or like I hired people as 1099s to save myself the payroll money, and now you're in big trouble for that. Like there's so many things that it's just like, if you just let someone in, and I think my biggest flip is that HR is a very intimate business.
Yeah, I was thinking when you were saying that, I was like, and don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed, and have that be the reason you didn't ask a professional.
I will turn over rocks, bugs will scurry out.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but you need somebody to go in there and find them.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that my logo is a lighthouse, and it's besides the fact that Outer Banks, Hatteras Lighthouse is like my favorite place on the planet. But HR is kind of like one of those deals where the lighthouse stops you from having shipwrecks. The light isn't on. You know how many people in HR be like, that is the best HR person I've ever met in my whole life. Like HR doesn't get accolades.
You're on defense. You're not an offensive player.
We don't get standing ovations. Yeah. We don't get that stuff. But
your standing ovation is that nobody's paying any attention. Like, and I don't mean that there are no problems, right? Like, so it's just running.
My standing ovation is when I stop a business from making a decision that would have been detrimental to them or the team member themselves. And I have advised clients against terminating someone because I can see the writing on the wall. I've done this long enough to know like that's going to be a suit. Mm-hmm. And I've had companies that wanted to terminate someone, and I know it's going to be a suit. And then 6 months later, that's the best person they've ever met, and they've loved them. And I'm like, so they just needed to get through that
season.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my standing ovation, is like, I know at the back of my head, like how much money I have saved them. Mm-hmm. And I've also seen on the flip side of that, I've seen businesses come to me after it's too late. And I'm like, well, we can fix it moving forward, but I can't
make it go back in time.
I can't.
Yeah. I'm not a time machine. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. Okay. Has there ever been a moment where you considered quitting? And what kept you going?
It was definitely within those first 2 years. Like I said, my husband, John. Hi, John. Where he said, you have a job, go do it.
Yeah.
There was times when I thought I was doing it, but not doing it enough. Like you can get a couple of contracts, or, God, if you have a client that isn't happy with you, and you've given everything and they're still not happy, and it makes you question, am I actually as good at this as I thought that I was? Am I, should I? Like, it's like the imposter syndrome comes back, but like,
or you let the minority make you feel that they are the majority, but they're not. They're just the loudest, right? And it makes you question.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's definitely been in those moments where, people don't, sign the contract, and they need it, and you're just like, yo,
I know.
You need this.
What does it take? Lead a horse to water, but you can't make them dream.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that. I mean, as a consultant, as that 1099, as that contractor, mm-hmm. And hell, I'm not even your business owner. I can't make you. It's your business. Right. And it's kind of like when you deliver a training. I gave you this information. Whatever you did with it, if you leave here and you never apply that information, I still delivered that information. Right. And you have to learn to not take responsibility for someone else not hearing you.
Yes, I get that.
So,
and I think that being a new business, right? Have you ever considered quitting? I think that I've said this to a lot of business owners, is typically when you get too caught in doing the things that aren't building your business, and you get caught in this cycle of feeling busy. Mm-hmm. But are you busy doing the right thing? Mm-hmm. And usually if you just go back to doing the right thing, you'll feel better.
Well, I mean, and weirdly enough, I think there have been times where I have absolutely hustled to death and felt like I was not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, my longest standing, largest client, I got through the actually it was at a networking event through the Northern Lancaster Chamber of Commerce. Represent. We do love.
That's not even a. That's
not even. That is.
That's 100%.
100%. But like there was this event, and I was just like, I had such a long week, and I was so tired, and it was in Ephrata, and I live in York. I did not want to drive an hour, and I just did not want to go. I said, no, put your big girl pants on, let's go. And I went, and they were the ones hosting it, and the one guy there was like, what do you do? I was like, I do HR. He's like, we need that. He's like, go talk to that guy. Went and talked to that guy. Before 3 years later, here I am.
Yeah.
Like it's, and you never know when.
And you would have lost that if you didn't just suck it up, Buttercup. Now, I know we just talked about that earlier, but in this case, suck it up, Buttercup. Go do what you know you need to do.
I think it's a reminder that as tired as you are, as exhausted as you are, as frustrated as you are, what if it's just around the next corner?
Yeah.
And you don't know. You don't know how close you are. I'm going to cry. I'm not crying. You're crying.
You're crying. But it is true. And it's hard when you're in those moments, and you're tired, or the day didn't go as it was planned, or with networking, especially when you're starting and you're like, I have so much to do. Mm-hmm. And thinking, I put this on my schedule for a reason, and I'm gonna go because I put it on my schedule. And it's cool when we're rewarded, right? When we do what we know we're supposed to do, and then we look back and we're like, okay.
But I think in your marketing, so you understand this, it's about like brand recognition. Mm-hmm. It's about showing up. It's about being, people may not understand fractional HR, but I guarantee you, I walk into an NLCC event and they're like, that's the HR girl. That's all I get. Yep. Right. Like, I mean, at least they know that.
At least they know that. And then when somebody needs it down the road, I always say the best compliment I can ever get is an email that is me and somebody else introducing. I met this person and I thought of you. They said they needed this, and I thought, like, that to me it's the best. They're the best. Yeah. They always make me happy. So kind of on the same thought process, what do new entrepreneurs not prioritize that they probably should? Well, it's really funny that we were just kind of talking about this without actually asking that question.
Yeah, I mean, they need the brand recognition. They need, I actually think what they need, and this is going to sound really silly, they need to know who their clients are. Mm. And that sounds really silly.
It doesn't. It's at the beginning of my marketing audit training is knowing who your ideal client is and who they aren't.
Exactly. And I think that especially when you're a new entrepreneur, you feel
like everybody's my client.
You feel exactly. You feel a little bit like a hooker. I'll do anything for $1. Like
you do that. That's a great one. Yeah, you want me to like redesign your whole website, your logo,
absolutely,
and redo everything.
Do you know how many?
For $25. Done.
I built resumes for people at the beginning, and if you ask me to build you a resume right now, I will tell you that there is someone else who could do that. Could I? Can I? Sure. Will I? Absolutely not now.
Yeah.
Right?
But you had to have that yes in the beginning to kind of build that rapport. And I look back and I'm like, I would have said yes to that again in that season. Exactly. And I understand that now in this season, and it's not that I don't want to hump them in this season. It's that the overhead that I carry now doesn't support that. So the process of bringing them on as a client, bringing them through billing, bringing them through, they no longer fit the process.
Yeah. And what's great is that as you evolve, there are, and that's the other thing too, is that you think I'm the only HR consultancy that exists. I'm not, right? There are people out there that are, like there's a woman in one of my networking groups who has a similar, and that's what it's not the exact same business model. It's a similar business model, but she spent a lot of time in like mergers and acquisitions. So I didn't.
Right.
I've never merged or acquired Jack.
Yeah.
So like, let her have that.
That's not your ideal client.
Exactly. Right. Like there are.
And those are great things too in the networking space. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like those are great people that you should not be afraid of when you're out and starting a business. Like they're the competition.
Yeah.
You all have a place, and it's finding, like for us, there are not massive custom coded websites. We don't build those, but we've made some really great partners with people that do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can refer somebody to them and they don't do social media. So vice versa, yeah, that's a good.
Yeah. I think that it's a large enough world. I think the data is like 90% of businesses are actually small businesses. And so really it comes down to like making sure like that you understand where you are, what you plan to do, and that might change with time, and not to be afraid of that. I mean, if things always stayed the same, Toys R Us would still be in business.
Absolutely. You
Right?
have to evolve. You have to grow. You have to change.
And right. So
and
like,
you have to also realize, like you're saying, like who is that ideal client, who isn't in that in that season of your business,
and where do I find them?
Mm-hmm.
What do they need?
Mm-hmm.
And are we in alignment?
Yeah.
Right. And it's, I think small business owners, again, like I'm guilty of it. I'm like, sure, whatever you want, I'll do anything.
Yeah.
I did some things to get money that just like, well, it may sound really nefarious when I say it like that, but it wasn't. But like things that,
but it was things
they
that
weren't
like
my niche.
they weren't your niche. They didn't make you any money. They rolled some cash through the business, and at that time you needed something that rolled some cash through.
Well, and I think as you continue as well, you start noticing things that do make that are getting hits. Like maybe I push this one product and everyone's like, I think it's the best product since sliced bread. I think everyone should have this, and everyone's like, I don't think I want that, and I'm like, well,
then you got to pivot. Yeah.
That's actually my word this year.
Oh,
like Ross from Friends.
Yes. I say I pivot. I say that a lot because that's very art generous. And I say that in one of my classes too. I talk about that you have to release the emotional attachment to it. If it's not working, it's not working. Don't be emotional about it. Just cut it. Like, if you've ever watched Shark Tank, they say you are going to carry that right into the poorhouse, because you didn't change because you were too emotionally attached to just be. I understand it's emotional, but pivot and move to the right thing. So, how has being a business owner changed you personally?
Besides the fact that I'm completely unemployable at this point. I wouldn't hire me. I'd be the worst.
Some days though, when you're so tired, you're like, I could have clocked out.
But
but they're few and far between. But like there are days, and I'm not saying but there's funny. I'm like, everybody else got to clock out.
I think what's changed for me is that I have learned that I am so much more capable than I ever thought of. Like I like that those really crappy voices. How old are your kids?
15 and 9.
So have they fallen on the K-pop Demon Hunters like thing?
What is that?
They're pop stars, but they also fight like the underworld.
Oh, are they like the high schoolers and some of
They're
them
not
are vampires? No.
It's on Netflix. Well, the part of the film that I find really fascinating is that the whole idea is that the voices in our head that say the nasty things to us. In the movie, it's actually like this underworld bad guy or whatever.
Okay.
And that
sure that she could tell you all about.
Yeah, but the main characters are there to sort of keep a barrier from us from that, right? And I feel like that is absolutely inside every single one of us. This really not nice person who says, you can't do this. You are going to fail. Like, I think that if you can combat that voice, that is, you're halfway there.
Yeah.
You're halfway there because that voice is a jerk.
Yeah. I've said before, especially when I had a very, very large female base when I was a Mary Kay sales director, I would always say, if you are saying it, then it is true. Whether it's true or not, If you think you can't, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think you can, you can. But you absolutely do have the ability to change.
What's that quote? If you whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yep. And
Jinx, buy me a Coke.
I know, right? But that part, like, you know, as a business owner, you have to control the dialogue in your own head. You also have to filter how you're receiving that information. Am I tired? Am I hungry? Did somebody say something mean to me yesterday?
Guess what? That works in relationships too.
Like, yeah, right.
That's
so
what I mean by
right? Like,
psychology and business and all of these things.
Because it's relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Humans interact, and the way that I say words and the way that you receive them are through whatever that filter is.
Yeah.
So when you have someone, and this brings it back full circle to like this HR thing.
Yeah.
Is that if if you terminate someone and you do it with confidence, and this is the right decision that we're making, versus if I have to terminate someone and I'm like, so we kind of have to like let you go and I'm not meeting eye contact with you, I feel uncomfortable. That person, regardless of the information, that person is going to feel that something was off. And in my experience of all of the mediation tables that I've sat across from, all of the times that I have gone through the legal process after the fact, is most of the time I can tell you that I have zero, not one chance. I mean, they probably exist out there, but in my experience, none have I had the business owner or the manager was actually a bigoted jerk. But the employee felt
that way.
So when you have these suits come up, it costs nothing to go to the state, to go to the EEO. It costs your employee $0 to file. It costs you tens of thousands in legal fees right off the rip before you even get to mediation.
I know.
So like a lot of that, if you can manage the feelings, you can actually manage the outcome.
And it's that whole, if you felt that way, whether I meant it that way or not, that is your truth, and I have to change how I'm delivering that information. But you're right, looking at that table and that person in leadership might have been a wonderful person, but they didn't deliver it the right way, and they didn't make the employee feel the right way.
Intentions don't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and again, you can apply all of these things to life.
Yep.
I didn't intend to do this, but the causation is this.
Right.
Right? Tell that to your mother that hurts your feelings.
I know, right? Oh, mothers hurt your feelings. Okay. What is one thing about your journey that you wouldn't change for the world?
That I wouldn't change for the world?
You wouldn't change for the world.
As silly as it was to just quit, I would do it all over again in a minute.
Yeah.
You could not dangle a corporate job at me. You couldn't give me a corner office. You couldn't. There's no way. I wouldn't change that at all. Like just the ability to drop everything and I'm glad. I mean, I know that there is some level of privilege to be able to say that I had a second income to do that. Not everybody can say that, but yeah, I wouldn't change that. Not even a minute. I mean, turning in my resignation and then going, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Scared the pants off of me.
I'm sure.
But no, I would do that again in a minute.
I love that. Okay, so final question. Are you ready? All right. So if someone is listening right now and they're in year one of their business or they're thinking about starting their business, what would you tell them?
Just not give up. I mean, those like I said earlier, those first couple years were rough. They were rough. I did not actually start paying, because I'm about to hit my 5-year anniversary. I did not start paying myself regularly until like in year 3.
Yeah.
Like, you know, every so often it'd be like, my husband would be like, can you deposit? Can you deposit something? I'd be like, well, let me see.
What is that called again? The owner's draw.
The owner's draw. Yeah. I'd be like, I have $300. Will that work?
I can give you 100 of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it was like, well, but if you can make it through that, Because what I have found is that networking, marketing, the whole journey is seeds, and you don't plant a seed and it doesn't grow instantaneously. It's not a chia pet.
Yeah.
Right? It's we have to stop making 90s references.
It's so good.
But
we love it. I mean, chia.
We have like we have our key demographics. This is who we need to market this towards. But like
meanwhile, the younger generation is typing in, what is a chia pet?
What is a Google? Chia pet? But they do know who Bob Ross was.
Oh, they do know who, yes, the painter.
Mm-hmm. Happy little trees. So, you plant and you do have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
You have to water them and you have to tend them. And that is hard to do when you are hungry and you're planting your crop and you're hungry and you want to eat your dang crop.
If you need to eat right now and being prepared
for that.
I think that's where a lot of potential entrepreneurs or dreamers, they forget that part, that it is different than a W-2 position in regard that it's going to be a while and you most likely will pay other people before you pay yourself. And knowing that you need to be prepared for that journey so that you are doing the thing that is right for the company as a whole, and the longevity of what you are devoting yourself to building versus the microwave, right?
Yeah.
And if you're looking at it that you want the business to feed you right away, you're starving the business before it's prepared to do so.
And also don't look at other people and compare yourself
that's a good
to
one.
them, because again, this
unless you see their balance sheet. I mean, I'm not saying don't be like, I'm gonna compare myself once I see your balance sheet. That's not what I said. But you don't know what.
Well, and you don't know what they did to get there, and you don't know what leg ups they had. You don't know. Every one of us starts from a different starting point, and it's very, very much like with anything in life. Social media is all here's my beautiful life, and they don't show you the things that are happening.
Highlight reel.
Yes. So do not compare yourself to someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah.
Like, just do what's best for you. And find your soup.
Find your soup. I love it. Oh my gosh, that's a wonderful place to stop. So Sarah, I have enjoyed this. Everybody will have to let us know, but Sarah will definitely have to be back, because I do honestly feel like Emma is going to be able to do this in post editing and write down all the things I was like, we should do a podcast episode about that and jot all those down, because I think that understanding people doesn't get enough attention. And I think that if you can understand people, you're going to get a lot more done, and you're going to feel a lot more joy in the process. So I love that. But thank you for sharing your journey, Sarah.
Thanks.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.